Hey guys, it's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides, and I have a special Corvette if you are into Corvettes. This is a 1981 Chevrolet Corvette. Let me give you a little bit of history about the Corvette. So, Corvette's been around since 1953. This Corvette here is considered the third generation of Corvettes. The reason why is that this generation was made from 1968 all the way to 1982. This is an 81, so this is the second to the last year of this, what they like to call Coke bottle flared out fender styling that started all the way in 1968. What I really love about the 81 and 82 Corvette is I really like what they did with the front of the car and how they molded it into the rest of the car. If you go back to 1968, they were still running chrome bumpers back then. Just like every other Corvette, this Corvette is fiberglass. It's been like that since the first day in 1953. I'm really loving the color of this car. It's like a blue with some really nice metallic. Let me go ahead and show you first, focus on these wheels. So back in the 1970s and 80s, you didn't have Corvettes with 20-inch wheels, 19-inch wheels. This is what you found standard on these types of cars. This is a 15-inch aluminum wheel, and over the years, Chevrolet tweaked the styling. If you notice on the wheel, there's our traditional Corvette emblem with the checkered flag and the Chevrolet bow tie flag. That's something that when you look at it, you know that it's a Corvette. These Corvettes were made in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where even today the Corvette is still made. So that's something that Corvettes come from one factory and one factory only. They don't get mixed in with other different models and whatnot. So that's another thing that's unique about Corvettes. Let's go ahead and take a look at the engine real quick. So this Corvette is all about power. It's all about performance. What made Corvettes very popular for many years was their small block V8s. If you're wondering, well, what's a small block? Small block, you're looking at the size of the engine. When you hear small block or big block, it depends on how many cubic inches the engine is. When it's a small block, you're going to find something like a 327, a 350, like we have here. If you're going big block, you're going to get something 454 cubic inch, 427 cubic inch. So unfortunately, when it came to outright performance in the early 1980s, it wasn't there anymore because the EPA, the emission standards and everything else was constricting these cars of all their horsepower. And it's sad because if you went back, say, 10 years before that, you'd have gobs and gobs and gobs of horsepower. But what's funny is that these later Corvettes were still outselling. The numbers were growing. People were loving these cars because it's still a Corvette at the end of the day, and it still has the great style. So even though this doesn't have a 500 horsepower engine, even though it's breathing through a straw, you can get extra horsepower out of these cars, but you also have the styling as well. Let's go ahead and take a look down the side here. I really love, like I was showing you before, that flared fender styling, how it flows down the side of the car. Just like always, all Corvettes, 2 seats. So if you're looking for a family car, you're looking in the wrong place. And that's why the Corvette is America's true sports car. It's always been 2 seats, always been that way. Another thing you don't see anymore are the T-tops. T-tops came around in those 1960s. They went all the way to the 1970s and in the early 80s. So these T-tops, you actually remove each panel. There's two separate panels, and you have a bar in the center. That's what gives it that T-top name. And it gives the person that convertible feel without having an actual convertible. And I like that because when you have a convertible, you're going to lose some of the rigidity of the structure. With this, you put them in place and it's real simple to go. I really also like, as you work your way down here, I like the way they put the door handle. You know, it wasn't like some big clunked on door handle. They hid the door handle in there, make it nice and easy. And I just love the way that the rest of the car just flows right to the end and you have a really nice kick up spoiler. Let me show you the front of the car, which I think is my favorite part of the car. Let's go ahead and take a look. So if you look at the front of this 81 Corvette, you can see where the engineers did their homework and did some tweaking. They actually got rid of the chrome bumpers. Now, chrome bumpers were last seen on a Corvette in 1973, and it was only the rear of the car that had the chrome bumpers. 74 is where they went to full urethane fiberglass front and rear uh, bumpers. This I really like because they actually took the front nose and they made it more aerodynamic. They made it more sleek. There's our traditional pop-up headlights on a Corvette. Remember, You know, you look at a 21st century Corvette, we've lost the pop-up styling. They are better headlights, but you know, I miss this old style. It really gives it a nice aerodynamic look. And there's that wonderful Corvette emblem. One last thing I want to point out to you before we head to the back is that hood. If you're wondering why does the hood open that way, that is something that's been on Corvettes since day one. Always opens up backwards to allow you to have access to everything underneath the hood. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back of this Corvette. So like I said, coming down the side, I really like what they were doing in the late 70s, early 80s, where they took the color of the car and blended it into the inside of the car. You can see how this is a day and age where they still have all the instrumentation. If you look inside the car, you could still see how they had oil pressure, coolant temp, vacuum pressure. Everything was there. Your volts. These are things that you don't see on a lot of cars. And what's funny is that you would think with the technology, we would have more information, where in reality we have less information. So kind of crazy how this car actually has more instrumentation than say a newer Corvette. Finally, here's my second favorite part of this car. There it is, the traditional four taillights. They're round. That's something that harks back all the way to the early days. You got the Corvette emblem right in the middle to let you know that, hey, this is America's sports car. And these are the things I love about the Corvette and why there'll always be a place in my heart for any year Corvette. It doesn't matter if you have a 53, a 63, 73, or in this case, an 81. They're all great in their own way. So I want to thank you guys for watching today. If you have not checked out my original content on my Instagram page, go to Raity's Rides. If you have a comment or a question that you have, leave it in that comment section. Visit my website, raitiesrides.com. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.